December 31st, 2019, Wuhan, China. What first looked like pneumonia, doctors discovered dozens of cases of a new virus. It attacked the lungs, people were dying quickly, medical staff was trying to figure out what to do. Turns out, the disease is called Covid-19. February 2020, pandemonium of a Covid-19 pandemic slowly crashed into the United States and the world. Nurses and doctors were known to be on the front lines. This story is about teenagers. Frontline workers that because of the pandemic put themselves in harm's way too.
Some of the precautions that Wendy's took was putting up plexiglass in front of the drive-thru, and then we also have to wear gloves and masks, and only a certain amount of people are allowed to be on the shift at a time. Also, the inside dining room closed, like no one's allowed to sit in there and eat.
First thoughts were that there was not going to be like this big pandemic, and it was just going to be an isolated problem. But now it feels like it's ginormous.
Antonio was right. He is 16 years old and was a fast food worker since he was 14 years old. But he's left the company now and talks about his experiences.
What I liked is the friendships that I made with the crew people, and what I did not like is the conflicts with my managers.
The thing I like the most is being with my friends and being able to go into work and just know that I'm going to see them, and also getting paid. And then what I dislike is just rude customers that come in, like either through upfront or through the drive-thru, and just who are just mean and aren't very nice.
Just like 18-year-old Gabrielle, teens worldwide have continued to work during this pandemic, like this video in Canada.
When people hear about essential workers, they might imagine adults in these positions, but there are actually teens all across the country doing essential work.
We separated all the tables, we limited the seating just to really help employees to also stay safe.
Teen essential worker jobs include assisted living, restaurants, retail, and grocery store clerks. 2 million of teens are employed. They need money to support themselves through high school for such things as clothes, gas money, and tuition.
My first thoughts was that it was going to be so weird going into work. I didn't think that I would have to work at first, but when Wendy's was declared an essential workplace, I was like, oh, I have to go into work now, and I knew that it was going to be weird at first, but now this is the new normal, so we have to deal with it.
Part of the new normal was seeing how customers responded to the pandemic.
One crazy experience was that when someone came through the drive-thru, 3 cars came through, they ordered $100 orders per each car, then they went in the parking lot and had a Wendy's party with all their food, and they just sat out there socially distanced, and that was pretty weird.
The craziest thing that I had to experience was when a person came through drive-thru with a house on the back end of their trailer. The person proceeded to get out of their car at the first window and proceeded to talk to me and a manager. The manager had to tell them why it's a health risk to me and them, and to tell them that it was not supposed to happen again.
How did teen experiences working during the COVID-19 pandemic compare with adults? I spoke with my neighbor Pam, a frontline nurse.
I actually think that as a frontline worker and working as a team, I really think that it brought a lot of us closer together. We had to really rely on each other to save lives, to save our own lives, to save each other's lives. We knew we all had to be on the same page.
Pam says teenagers learn new skills too. And under the pandemic, there was a lot more stress on the job.
At the beginning, I was perfectly fine because we had people to fill the schedule. Towards the end, there wasn't that many to fill the schedule, so people like me had to pick up more hours, and we were stressed out and had a lot of anxiety.
My mental health was affected because it added to the list of stress that I have because of the thought of that I could be contracting COVID from being at work, and that just scares me a little.
Well, Congress will soon begin debating the next coronavirus relief package, but first, the Trump administration is in talks with Republicans over what should be in it. CBS correspondent Natalie Brand has
Just about everyone was worried about getting infected.
Do you notice any changes with the people you were working with?
Well, I think there's several things. There was a concern, obviously, when Philadelphia went into lockdowns. We call it lockdown.
Jim Donovan is an anchor at CBS News.
It was mandatory stay at home. You know, because you could be working with someone and not know that they've got a compromised immune system, or they live with an elderly parent that has issues. So it was just the uncertainty of exactly what was happening, how this was being transmitted.
Unfortunately, we had to treat everybody as though they were positive to protect ourselves and other patients. We changed a lot of things about ourselves. We changed never the way that we treated patients, but the wearing the PPE, what we can carry with us, what the social distancing, how many people could be in the area when we were treating the patients, and how we were together as a team.
A lot more is known now about safety from infection, such as wearing masks and social distances that we did as teen video journalists for the Boyd workshop during one-on-one interviews.
So I decided to come out publicly with what happened to me to hopefully raise awareness more of my peers and say, I don't know how I got it, and it could really happen to anyone.
So what's the best way to protect yourself from this ongoing pandemic, especially as a teen frontline worker? Watch out for fever, shortness of breath, and cough. Call hospital and doctor's office, and they will guide you and tell you what to do. Be sure to wash your hands and wear a mask and gloves when on the job. And make sure to stand behind the shield that's provided by the company, and for all customers to honor social distancing. I'm Felicia Ream with the 2020 Journalism Boyd Workshop at Rutgers University. Please be safe.